I want to thank you guys for coming back to yourrealestate101.com, the place where we can come and learn tips and tricks about real estate. A great place if you are trying to learn about real estate and if you are managing your own rentals. If you have not already, please subscribe and turn on notification. Now, today we are talking about the best way to get rid of a bad tenant. Now, a bad tenant could be a non-paying tenant or a destructive tenant. In all honesty, this is probably one of the best, safest, less cost way to get rid of your tenant without the courts. Now, in another video, I did make a video regards to getting rid of tenants without going to court and without paying them. I will put the link below so that you can check that out. But today we will be talking about the top 5 benefits to getting rid of your bad tenants by paying them to move. Number 1, paying a tenant to move can save you on turnover costs. If the tenant knows they will get money, they will be more likely to clean up and take their stuff out. It's not even unheard of for you to ask the tenant if they can paint as well. I would recommend you buy them a can of paint or a couple cans and you hand it over to them with some brushes and rollers and say, hey, look, just paint over the apartment or touch up. So this could save a lot in the turnover process. Number 2, save on legal fees. If you have to get rid of the tenant, you would have had to pay the lawyers in court, sheriffs, marshal, whatever is in your area to physically move them out. It's not a bad idea to tell the tenant just that. Tell them, look, I can pay these guys or I can give this money to you instead. There you go. Number 3, make money on the rent. Now, I know this is a little bit strange, but you see, as long as that tenant is in that apartment, you're losing money. So the faster you get them out, the faster you put that house back on the market and get the proper tenant. So there you go. That's pretty straightforward. Try that one. Number 4, it is a win-win situation. Sometimes the tenant wants to move as much as you want them to move out. But the problem is this, they can't afford it. Maybe they can't afford the moving truck. Maybe they can't afford another deposit. So sometimes if you can say, hey, look, here, I'll give you this, then guess what? That might have been just exactly what they needed. Number 5, there is less chance of the tenant bad mouthing you or the house. Now, many landlords think this will not affect them, but it does. Ask yourself, how many times have you looked at the reviews of a product you wanted to buy? And let's say the majority of the people said they loved the product, but there's those few negative reviews make you not buy it. Well, good tenants are like that too. Every time you let the wrong tenant in your home, maybe you felt bad from the story they gave. You knew they didn't have a strong job. They didn't make enough to cover the rent or in their lifestyle, but you let them in anyway. Maybe because you felt bad for them. Maybe you needed the money. The crazy thing is those are the same tenants usually you will have to kick out a few months later or a year later. And they are often the tenants who are the most mad. They are the tenants who will go around and tell everyone. And if they are computer savvy, then they will also put reviews on your property or go to tenant forums and just bad mouth you. And then this is going to cause you to lose out on good tenants, because those tenants will look at those reviews and just choose something else, pass over your property. Sooner or later, what you're going to notice is you're going to get a lot of calls from a lot of different tenants, but they seem like they're all bad, not that great. So now you have to select from the cream of the crap. So bad mouthing can affect you and your business. Okay, there you have it, my top 5 benefits to getting rid of a tenant by paying them to move. The key thing that you guys have to remember is one thing: stay calm. I always say, try to find out what is the tenant's viewpoint. What is their viewpoint? Why? What is the problem they're having? Why are they not paying the rent? Is it something wrong? Is it Maybe there's an issue in the family. The more you know, the better it is for you to negotiate. Now, I might not agree with it, so don't get me wrong. But if you understand what their issue is, you probably have a better chance to negotiate and coming up with a better outcome that will solve your problem and solve theirs. Now, I will not sit here and tell you that this always works. However, it is very possible and it is actually very common than you think. You don't want to be that landlord or the landlady arguing, yelling, fighting in the middle of the street, going out of control. You have to be very clever in your negotiation. First, run your numbers. Ask yourself, how much is the tenant costing you? How much is the cost of the rent? How much will it cost you to evict them? And keep in mind, how many months do you think this tenant could fight for? Or how long can, let's say, the moratorium last for? That's going to kind of give you an idea of how much you can afford to negotiate or give to the tenant, okay? Now, just know that this tactic is often overlooked because the idea that a tenant got over on you sucks. Yes, it does suck, but you need to snap out of it. You are running a business. If you run your numbers, you will realize this is the best way to save money and get these people out of your house. Learn from your mistakes. Tighten up your screening process. Don't just let anyone in your apartment. Now, make sure you follow the law because that's important as well. You don't want to get in trouble. When it's time to talk to the tenant, when you're trying to pay them, to show the tenant you are serious, put it in writing. Remember, you are negotiating. You want to basically give the least possible and get the most out of it. Whether it's just try to see if you can just give them the moving truck, pay for it. Don't put it in your name. Whatever you do, don't put it in your name because that can give you a whole set of other trouble. Maybe you give them $500 or maybe you give them a whole month rent or maybe 2 months rent. Stay away from the security deposit. Don't talk about the security deposit. You can later on use that for damages or claims on the loss of rent, or you can claim the loss of rent. So for now, you don't focus on the security deposit. If they talk about the security deposit, then that's on the table. Then you might have to offer that as well. But the key thing is this, just remember how much it will cost you to keep this person in your apartment. How much the stress, the time, the effort, and you're still going to have to kick them out in court at the end. And that's even more stress, more money. So if you can get them out for a few $100, isn't it worth it? Anyway, like I said, it's not always going to happen, but you never know. Okay, so guys, don't forget to subscribe, share, like, comment below if you like that idea, if you have see any other benefits, or maybe you don't see it as a benefit at all. Maybe you have another way you can get tenants out. And let's start a conversation.